The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Neenah Common Council meeting for Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. The first item on the agenda is the clerk will call the roll, and please indicate your presence on your roll call device as well.
Alderman Bruno.
Here. Yeah, sorry.
Erickson.
Here.
Linsky.
Here.
Ellis.
Here.
Steiner.
Here.
Allnow.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
And Borchert.
Here.
Thank you. Alderman Steiner, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for joining us tonight at our new time, which is 6 p.m. So I hope it wasn't inconvenient for anyone to arrive here at 6 p.m. It's a change for us, but I think it will work out well. The first item on our agenda is a presentation by the Executive Director of the Fox Cities Convention and Visitors Bureau, Pam Seidel, and we welcome her and thank her for being here.
Thank you, Mayor Lang. Hello, thank you for having me. Some of you who know me, I've been here before, and for those of you who are new, congratulations on your election to the council. I look forward to working with all of you. The Fox Cities Convention and Visitors Bureau is your tourism entity. So per Wisconsin state statute, the CVB was founded in 1985. Neenah was one of the funding municipalities, and in true Fox Cities fashion, we are a regional tourism entity. We serve Kokona down to Neenah, over to Hortonville, over to Sherwood, and we market the Fox Cities on a regional basis, serving 19 and a half municipalities. I get the Outagamie County, half of Wrightstown, and in parts of 3 counties. So we are an independent 501c6 organization. We have, we're governed by a board of directors. Each of the municipalities that generates at least 1% of the room tax in the Fox Cities has a municipal appointee to my board. Your long-term municipal appointee was Director Chris Hayes, and now will be Director Nyforth going forward. So happy to have her join our board. Big shoes to fill there. We also have hotel industry representatives. From Neenah, Ryan Batley, who is the general manager of the Best Western Premier Bridgewood, is our Neenah hotelier. And we also have members at large from the tourism or hospitality industry. The president of the Performing Arts Center, the director of Appleton International Airport are on our board, and others as well. Our mission really is simple. We strengthen the Fox Cities by investing and promoting our community. We are essentially a sales and marketing organization, and we sell and market the Fox Cities for tourism. We are funded solely with hotel motel room tax that is collected from guests that stay in the hotels in the Fox Cities. So it is not a local resident tax, of course, unless I guess they stay in a hotel room. We are funded by the guest tax that is paid when people stay in hotels. So essentially, my funding model is built into my survival. The more people I get to come here and stay in hotels, the more budget I get to promote the Fox Cities. And so it works very well because that is our sole kind of focus, is we really stay in our lane. We really try to stay focused on tourism and bringing people to the area as guests. This is a kind of a fun little map of who we serve. basically the populated area south of Green Bay, north of Oshkosh, and the contiguous communities in those areas. We have 3 core markets here for the Fox Cities. Leisure travel, that's what most people expect from tourism, vacations, getaways. We do an incredible amount in sports tourism, and that is traveling sports teams. If any of you have had children, grandchildren who travel on club teams, you know what an investment in family time and money that can be. It is also a huge revenue generator here in the Fox Cities. And economic impact is incredible for the sports tourism in our area because we're family friendly and we have great facilities. If you know, Flatgrass is coming up in Neenah, and next weekend, that was really one of the genesis, that was one of our first big tourism generating sports events, and it's lasted this long and still has an incredible impact. We also do a lot of work with meetings and conventions, generally in state associations. Room tax in the Fox Cities tourism zone is 10%. And this is how it is divided up. So of that 10% pie, I get 2.85% to fund my operations. 3% funds bonds on the Community First Champion Center and Grand Chute. Another 3% funds bonds on the Fox Cities Exhibition Center in Appleton. And then the municipalities retain a little over 1%. How the room tax is kind of allocated, where it's generated. Of the municipalities that generate room tax in the tourism zone, you can see the majority is generated in the town by the town of Grand Chute. That is the predominant number of our hotels happen to be in the town of Grand Chute. City of Appleton is second, Neenah third at about 9%, and then you can see the rest of the municipalities coming in the smaller sections. One of the things that makes the Fox Cities Convention and Visitors Bureau unique, and it has been that way since we were founded, is we take a portion of the money that comes to us for operations and put it into what we call our Tourism Development Grant Fund. I don't use it for operations. It's a way we can reinvest room tax back into the community. If you think of my organization as a sales and marketing organization, this is my product development fund. It's how I make the Fox Cities better for tourism. And I'm proud to say that we have invested, directly from the CVB over $12 million back into the communities. But you as a community, you as a group of communities have reinvested many more millions of dollars in projects that make tourism better in the Fox Cities. 2 of the big room tax funded projects were the Fox Cities Exhibition Center and the Community First Champion Center. Both of these projects over $30 million, solely constructed with paying the construction mortgage essentially, or bonded mortgage, with hotel motel room tax. There's no local tax dollars funding these facilities. They are solely funded by the room tax that's generated. And when you think about it, the more people we can put into these 2 facilities, the faster we pay off the mortgage, the more room tax we generate. It's really a testament to the regionalism and how we work together here. We brought these 2 projects out of the ground within 18 months of one another. Still, my counterparts around the state are envious and don't understand how we did it and how we could do it by working together. It's a very unique proposition, and it's something I think we should really be proud of here in the Fox Cities. I don't think we appreciate what we did here as much as we should. So 2 projects, the Fox Cities Exhibition Center located in downtown Appleton. It's owned by the City of Appleton. It's operated by the Hilton Appleton Paper Valley staff. Annual economic impact of that building is around $6 million. Our role as a CVB, we provide sales and marketing support. The Community First Champion Center is another $30 million project. Opened in November 2019. If you're all familiar with the calendar, not a great time to open. It was immediately closed in March of 2020 for about 4 months, and then reopened. It is owned by the town of Grand Chute. It is operated by Fox City Sports Development, which is a 501c3, and its annual economic impact for the area is about $8 million. Our role, we act as an administrator. We're kind of a liaison between the town of Grand Chute and Fox City Sports Development, and we also provide sales and marketing support. Our tourism development grants, as I mentioned, we've reinvested $12 million back into the community. Some grants that we've done here in Neenah, Shattuck Park. multiple grants to the Bergstrom Mall and Museum from the time when they put on their shop. We have a grant pending for their new gallery renovation that they are currently in active fundraising for as well. We supported Future Neenah's Last Light Neenah, and if you've seen that and how incredible that is, I was so proud of what they did with that. They were inspired by a presentation from the CVB's Destination Master Plan in a project that was done in Montreal for their 350th anniversary, where they lit up buildings around the city with graphics. And kudos to Future Neenah for carrying the ball and that they've done an amazing job. We also just did a check presentation at the Neenah Historical Society for the Growing Up Neenah exhibit. And we've bought every bridge around the Loop the Lake Trail. Director Kading knows if he needs someone to buy a bridge, he calls me. So we help fund each of those trestle bridges. The annual economic impact of tourism. Unfortunately, I do not have 2024 numbers yet. I will have those in early June. I was just told that from the state. But for 2023, I think the thing with the Fox Cities is people don't understand. They don't see us as a tourism destination. They think of Wisconsin Dells or Dork County. We have a significant amount of tourism. In fact, Outagamie County ranks right behind Dork County in visitor spending in Wisconsin. Our tourism is just more diverse with sports tournaments, meetings, and conventions, and leisure travel. 2023, visitors directly spent $571 million in the Fox Cities. Total economic impact of $748 million. It created 6,700 plus jobs and generated $64 million in state and local taxes. You can see the slope here of the last 5 years of our visitor spending. Obviously, the slump in 2020, but we are well above 2019. We have rebounded very well here in the Fox Cities, and visitor spending continues to remain strong. Each household in the Fox Cities would need to be taxed an additional $856 per year to replace the sales and other local taxes generated by tourists when they come and spend. They often say that tourism is the most purest form of economic development. People come, they spend money, they go home. You don't have to provide them with a lot of services. On the two big generating facilities that your room tax helps fund as part of the tourism zone, the Champion Center continues to just exceed all expectations. In 2024, they hosted 74 tournaments that generated over $6.2 million in revenue, direct visitor spending. They served 48,000 plus athletes and 82,000 spectators. Tournament games took place on 50 of 52 weekends. Roughly 98% of the participants are 18 years old or younger. I often say that the Champion Center is a true example of what tourism can do from an economic development and local quality of life. This building was built all with room tax dollars. The debt is being paid only with room tax dollars. But our local residents have a beautiful facility during the week. Most of the tourism generating things that happen at the Champion Center happen on weekends. So Monday to Friday, there are multiple local groups, local teams. In fact, it is home to Neenah Hortonville Menasha. Neenah's co-op hockey team this is their home ice, the Valley Figure Skating Club, and Lawrence University Women's Hockey, as well as multiple other club volleyball groups and basketball groups. From a local impact, so local users use this facility over 8,000 practice hours, 59,000 practice participants, and over 128 different sports camps last year. It's significant impact that is really helping also the quality of life here in the Fox Cities. Fox Cities Exhibition Center, 24-year in review, 51 groups and functions, so approximately one per week, about 56,000 total in attendance, and it generated over almost 9,000 hotel room nights. That is a very quick overview. I know you have a big agenda. Certainly open to any questions. I did want to reference, and I gave it to you, Clerk. Ryan Batley, who's the general manager of the Bridgewood, wanted to attend with me tonight. His children have a baseball game, so he couldn't. But he did write a letter that you will be shared with, really referencing. One might think, well, what do these two facilities, one in Grand Chute and one in Appleton, do for my hotel? And in this letter, he references the value that they have brought, not only in spillover guests, but last weekend, Ryan had Neenah High School's prom at the Bridgewood, and he catered Zephyrfest for St. Mary's Catholic at the exhibition center. So it's brought him increased catering jobs, it's brought him increased hotel guests, and the Champion Center regularly generates, they're such a family-friendly place, they generate a lot of hotel rooms from the teams that travel into the Champion Center. So I've asked the clerk to share that letter with you. Questions?
Alderman Lundrum?
Thank you, Pam. That was really interesting. I'd like to address the elephant in the room with the draft. And I know that you said you couldn't even get your 2024 numbers until, next month. So it'll probably be a while before you can tell us what kind of impact it made. Anecdotally is great. Yeah.
What I have, I had a handful of hotels who were sold out Thursday night, Friday night. The majority had rooms available and said the weekend was not as strong comparatively to the weekend in 2024 from a guest standpoint. Now, last year in 2024, we had a tournament at the Champion Center and we had a convention, and those events were here. They were focused on the Fox cities. The draft did what I expected it to do, frankly, from a tourism standpoint. I expected people to come, stay overnight, and go to Green Bay and spend their time there. That's what I thought would happen, and that is what happened. I know there was a lot of expectation kind of built up in the run-up to the event that maybe got a little unrealistic. Hotel rates, that even though the occupancy was low, the rates were so very high that financially, when I see the room tax come in for April, which I won't see until July, I believe we will have made more revenue from the event because the hotel rates were so high. I also saw a large increase in home rentals, Airbnbs. A lot of people put their homes, there was a 25% increase in houses for rent in the Fox cities, April 25 over April 24. So some of those potential house guests may have crowded into houses and Airbnbs.
Will you ever get any numbers from like restaurants or retail?
Probably not. I mean, I'll get some general visitor spending from some research that we get that I'll have by the end of the month on where, what the visitors that we hear where they sent their money. But again, anecdotally, I spoke to some businesses here in Neenah, some businesses in downtown Appleton. If anything, it was kind of a normal weekend, maybe a little slower depending on who you were, because even some of our local residents who would have been there regulars probably went up to Green Bay to enjoy that event.
Right. Thank you.
Other questions? Alderman Ellis?
Thank you. Just a comment for you, Pam. I can recall when you first hung your shingle out all those many years ago, and you had great colleagues with you then. And I can recall that was the infancy of our downtown development as well as other cities. And all I wanted to say is what I have seen through your organization through time is that you took individual communities and you created a nucleus where those who come from without think of us as one. And that's what makes all of this work, both the friends inside of our community and out. And I just want to say thank you for all of the hard work that you have done in the past and you will continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you. I often say that visitors don't care where the municipal lines are. They just want to have great experiences. They want to come to the Bergstrom Mahler Museum, they want to skate at the plaza, and then they want to go to the PAC for a show. And that's great. The more experiences we can give them, the longer they stay and the more money they spend.
Thank you so much, Pam. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate the time.
Is there a motion to receive and place this presentation on file?
I would so move.
Did you say?
I'll go number 2.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to receive and place the presentation on file. Is there any discussion? Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0. The next item on the agenda are a couple of proclamations. I would like to call on Patty Julius from the auxiliary to come forward. She has a statement to read, and then I will read the Poppy proclamation.
Had a fall this past week, but I'm doing great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Patty Julius, Chairman of this year's American Legion Auxiliaries Poppy Program. On behalf of the American Legion Post 33 and the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 33, we are pleased to be present this evening to witness the signing of our Poppy Proclamation for the City of Neenah by Mayor Jane. This will begin the annual observance of the month of May being Poppy Month and May 24th being National Poppy Day. Our official Poppy Days will be May 22nd and 23rd prior to our Memorial Day festivities, when you will find members distributing their poppies for donations. Many Neenah businesses have supported our patriotic service organization for many successful years, raising funds for local and statewide veterans, active duty military, and their families. We are looking forward to another successful year in remembering our heroes of today and the past and the sacrifices made by all. We also especially thank Mayor Lang in making this observance official. And thank you all for coming. And please remember, honor a veteran and wear a poppy. And one more thing I just wanted to say, our American Legion Auxiliary we have an excellent group of people working together, distributing poppies throughout our community, and our city has been very welcoming with our Legion this year too, working with us in distributing poppies. And this evening, these people came along with, we have our president, and why don't you just stand up and say it. Shar Kiesling has been very helpful too. Jill, why don't you start and just kind of say what you're doing.
I'm the president of the auxiliary. This is Shar Kiesling.
Shar Kiesling, Vice President.
Jerry Webb, a co-worker to help out distribute the poppies.
Our junior leader, she does a great job with our
I'm Vicki Hansen. I'm the junior advisor, and we have a couple Sons of American Legion members, and we have about 31 in total. But if I get 5 to 7 at a meeting, usually just 3, then I'm doing good. But they have planted a tree, we've planted a poppy garden, they're learning all about the flag, and they're an enthusiastic group of kids.
I'm Claire. I'm Sergeant Arms. I'm Mary Kozlowski. I'm chaplain for the Neenah Unit 33, Winnebago County, and District 6 of the American Legion.
Donna?
You're done. I'm done. I'm done.
She's a new member. I'm Barbara Bodenhagen, I'm treasurer membership.
I'm Karen Gregerson. I've been a member for almost 30 years. My husband was in the Air Force. He told me I should go and join Boost.
Well, thank you all for being here. I'll read the proclamation now. Whereas the annual distribution of poppies by the American Legion Neenah Post 33 and the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 33 have been officially recognized and endorsed by governmental leaders since 1922, and whereas the poppies are assembled by disabled veterans and the proceeds of this worthy fundraising campaign are used exclusively for the benefit of disabled and needy veterans and the widows and orphans of deceased veterans, And whereas the basic purpose of the annual distribution of poppies by the American Legion and Auxiliary is eloquently reflected in the desire to, quote, honor the dead by helping the living, unquote. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Jane Lang, Mayor of the City of Neenah, do declare May 23rd through May 24th, 2025 to be Poppy Days, and do hereby urge the citizens of this community to recognize the merits of this cause by contributing generously to its support through their donations of poppies on the days set aside for the distribution of these symbols of appreciation for the sacrifices of our honored dead. I urge all patriotic citizens to wear a poppy as mute evidence of our gratitude to the men and women of this country who have risked their lives in defense of the freedoms which we continue to enjoy as American citizens. Signed and sealed the 7th day of May, 2025. And I'll come forward to hand it to you.
Thank you. Oh, sure. Yeah, let's go up by the table here if that's okay. And you can sign it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You ordered 5,000.
Bethany will get a picture. She's with our Neenah News Record.
Thank you.
There you go, Ms. Castanets, for your group. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate what you do. The next proclamation is for the Letter Carriers Food Drive Day, and I won't read that. I don't think we have a representative here for that, but happy to announce that they are continuing to do their Letter Carriers Food Drive Day. You probably have already received a bag in your mailbox to indicate that you could fill that, and they will be collecting food. So just wanted to point that out to everyone. That's Letter Carriers Food Drive Day, May 10th, 2025. The next item on the agenda is introduction and confirmation of mayor's appointments. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the appointment of Frank Cuthbert to the Plan Commission for a 3-year term ending 2028? Or the appointment of Flo Bruno as a citizen member of the Neenah Arts Council for a 3-year term ending April 2028. Is there any objection? Seeing none, those appointments are confirmed, and our clerk will come forward to swear in Frank Cuthbert and Flo Bruno.
having been appointed a member of Land Commission
Art Council Commission
of the City of Neenah,
of the
of the
City of Neenah,
Winnebago County,
Winnebago County,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will
that I will
support
support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Wisconsin,
of the
of the
State
State
of
of
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
a member of
a member of
said committee
said
committee.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you again for accepting me first here and then here. So I hope I will help you a lot in this commission as well. I really appreciate being part of you this last 6 months, I think. And so I can't wait to continue with the Art Council.
Well, I would just like to thank everybody here. I think I have gone to just about all of your meetings for the last couple of years, so it's nice to actually sit at the table. I appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you to both of you. We really appreciate citizens stepping forward to help participate in the undertakings of the city. So thank you so much for your willingness to do that. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the council proceedings, approval of the minutes and proceedings of April 15th, the organizational and regular council meeting. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the approval of those minutes and proceedings? Any objection? Seeing none, those minutes and proceedings of April 15th are approved. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. This is the opportunity for residents, individuals to come forward if they would like to speak on any topic. Please state your name and residential address, and you have 5 minutes to speak on any topic that you would like to present to the council.
Good evening, Neenah City Council. In light of recent events disclosed by the Department of Justice, there is an ongoing operation in the United States that 50 FBI field offices are aware of. This disgusting operation is called 764. They are predatory towards young adults and children. I believe that this town has been, the infrastructure has been, so sorry, the infrastructure has been, you know what I'm saying. People have embedded themselves in our institutions that are, I'm so sorry, I'm so anxious. People have embedded themselves in our institutions that are a part of this network, and they have psychologically harassed children all across the United States. I think it is important for everyone to know here today that this is a serious crime and that the Department of Justice has declared this a national emergency. I believe that this town has been a victim to this network and that malicious actors have embedded themselves into our institutions. I was victimized in February of 2024 by individuals giving me trafficking flyers with false job pretenses and individuals showed up at my college and my work. I think that we need to be aware that these traffickers use extremely malicious imagery. They use covert imagery. They have used very infantile symbols, and it's very subtle. Terrorists don't speak in words. They speak in symbols. They use language that we can't see to our eyes, and they do this maliciously. And this 764 group has victimized across the entire United States children to young adults because they're the most vulnerable. And they have done incredibly sick things, and they have suggested children to do incredibly sick things, and they have suggested young adults to do incredibly sick things, and they are ideologically manipulative, and we need to be aware of those things. And I trust that the Neenah City Council will do their best to try and seek out what is causing this issue and to fight against human trafficking, to fight against malicious actors and people who want to be predatory towards our children. It is disgusting, and this is already information that the United States knows about, and it is spreading. And they have technology, they have AI, they have synthetic identities, they have embedded actors in institutions. And this is disgusting. And I hope to see that the false accusations made against our city attorney are going to be fully vindicated, because those disgusting traffickers also tried to implicate him. I think I said enough, and I hope that the city of Neenah understands these extreme issues that are happening across this country and in this city. Amen.
No, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum?
Hello, my name is Bernice Meyer. I live at 116 Armstrong Street in town of Neenah. I have some questions and concerns about where the Carpenter Preserve parking lot's going. I have asked Frank Cuthbert to speak for me.
Yes, so Bernice has asked me to read a statement to you. These are her opinions. They're not necessarily mine, but I will do the honor of reading.
Just to clarify, Bernice was having trouble with her voice, and that's why she asked someone to read for her.
Yes. Okay, so I am here to discuss the proposed parking lot on the northwest corner of the Carpenter Preserve, which is located on the north end of Eagle Crest subdivision. The development of the Eagle Crest subdivision and the outlots has affected my neighbors and myself personally for over 20 years, and I would like to give you a short history on its development. In 2003, Eagle Crest subdivision was being planned for development. On December 19th, 2003, Chris Hayes sent a letter to Jeff Schultz at Martinson Easel, concerning the conceptual plat for Eagle Crest Estates. The original plat map had Remington Road extending to Breezewood Lane. Chris Hayes suggested going through Lot 5 on Armstrong Street, which runs parallel to Remington Road. He suggested turning the lot into an extension of Shooting Star Drive, basically turning a lot into a road. The restrictive covenants at Armstrong's plat states that lots are to be used for residential purposes only. The city eventually turned Lot 5 into an extension of Shooting Star. On August 30th, 2004, Chris Hayes sent a letter to Richard Johnson, analyst consultant with urban planning. Chris Hayes repeated the necessity of extending Shooting Star to Armstrong Street, as Remington Road would not be able to go through to Breezewood Lane because of the environmentally sensitive area that it would go through. It was also stated that it was too close to Armstrong Street intersection with Breezewood Lane. This is the same area that the Park and Recs Department proposed to build a parking lot for the Carpenter Preserve. What happened to this being an environmentally sensitive area? Why did the city fight the residents of Armstrong Street for almost 20 years to stop the Shooting Star extension just to turn around and put a parking lot in the area that they claim was too sensitive to be used for a road? Two of the families on Armstrong Street purchased their homes because it was a private, quiet road. Armstrong Street was and still is considered a private road by the town, county, and state. The residents of Armstrong Street have been responsible for all maintenance of the street. Now both of these homes are on busy corner lots because of the city's decisions. After the connection of Shooting Star to Armstrong Street, the road used went from 4 cars a day to 350 cars a day. For a home on the corner of Breezewood Lane and Armstrong Street, they are now on a major intersection and will also have a parking lot in their backyard, eliminating even more of their privacy. Wouldn't it be possible to keep the parking lot next to the town hall where it currently is? This would condense the traffic to one area, protecting its environmentally sensitive area. It would also benefit nestings areas by condensing car traffic to one area. The residents of Armstrong Street have suffered enough because of the city's bullying their way to annex Armstrong Street. Poor planning on the city's part should not be taken out on the wildlife and the residents of Armstrong Street. Thank you, Bernice Meyer. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum?
Bob Lace, 765 Oak. First of all, I would like to thank the Poppy ladies for their service. My main topic tonight, for the past 20 years plus, I have been known as a one-man honor guard for different parades, different events. The Marine Corps is celebrating their 250th anniversary this year. For the past 20 years, I have been a honor guard on the corner of Drew and College in Appleton. And I've also been an honor guard for the Memorial Day Parade in Appleton. I received a phone call maybe a month ago asking if I would like to be the Grand Marshal. For the Flag Day Parade. With humbleness and great pride, I accepted their invitation. I will be the only Marine in #1 car for the Flag Day Parade. And I consider this a great honor myself. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
Good evening. My name is Cameron Clark from 1078 Oxford Court. Wanted to come here tonight because I know that in a short time you'll be considering the implementation of a wheel tax here in the city of Neenah. I understand the difficulties that the city is facing having to rescind, and I think rightfully so, the TARF that you guys had previously under threat of legal action. Given the amount of inflation that we've seen given the amount of uncertainty with taxes that we've seen and tariffs that we've seen nationally. I think it becomes the responsibility of all levels of government to find a way to take burden off of citizens who are already struggling so mightily in today's day and age. Furthermore, as we look at the traffic in our area, I'm in industrial sales, and I'm very thankful to say that we have a vibrant industry in this area. But I also know with that vibrant industry comes very heavy trucks, significant traffic, and wear and tear on the roads in this area especially that isn't caused by the citizens of Neenah. A wheel tax unfairly burdens those individuals with damage and maintenance needs and wear that, frankly, my little Equinox just doesn't cause. I don't care if I load all my kids up in it or not. So to that end, I would call on each and every one of you to reassess whether or not a wheel tax is appropriate. From my understanding, the former mayor, Dean Coffert, current state representative, is actively working with the state assembly to potentially work to re-legalize or legalize to begin with a TARF already. Perhaps that is another avenue that you could pursue down the road. I would look at what can be done in the short term. Are there funds that are not currently allocated in the budget? Are there contractors who maybe are providing duplicative services that aren't needed at this time? Given that the people who would be taxed aren't the ones causing the majority of the wear and tear on these roads, I do not believe that it is prudent now, given the consideration by the Assembly, to allow for TARFs, or equitable at any time, given the amount of industry, given the amount of wear and tear on our roads from trucks and businesses and enterprise that we're very thankful to have, but is responsible for the lion's share of that maintenance need. It would not be responsible to enact a wheel tax now or at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum?
Scott Becker, 1061 Green Acres Lane. I would also agree with what Cameron had said, that we are at our heart, at our core, we are a major industrial city. 23% of our employment is actually from the manufacturing sector. We all know Kimberly-Clark and Galloway and Georgia Pacific and Plexus and all the companies that are on our roads. In fact, we have 17 different city roads that are on Neenah's official heavy traffic route map. That's been around since 2013. The wheel tax is a bad idea. It's gonna put it onto residents who right now are already 80% of the property tax. So we need to think about other ways, other funding. What is happening in other communities? Shawano County just voted down a wheel tax 2 months ago. Cook County in 2022 voted down a tax, and it's very unpopular in Illinois, in the suburban communities that are heavily manufactured, similar to Neenah, are voting against wheel tax and repealing them. We have bad roads. According to the city's own information, 37% of our roads are either failing or fair, according to what was put into the 2040 comprehensive plan. That's up from 22% in 2017. So if our city, who has a PACER score of 5.6, which is the lowest in the Fox cities, and even for comparison to Menasha has a 7, and that's always considered a poorer community. So we need to improve our roads. But we should be looking at things like we have $2 million of carry forward money that right now is what was originally appropriated for Arrowhead Park. We need to improve our roads. That is point key one. If you look at Forest Avenue, if you look at Hewitt Street, if you look at even Green Acres, it's a 2. The roads in the city are falling apart, and we need to think about things besides putting a wheel tax on our poorest citizens and making their burden even worse. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum? Seeing no one, I will close the public forum. Is there anyone who would like to speak on council relative to public forum issues? Seeing no one, we'll move on to agenda item 8, the consent agenda. There are 2 items: temporary extension of licenses, premises application to Green's Poorhouse, Robert Green for Oktoberfest Block Party to be held on May 17th, 2025 from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And item B, temporary Class B wine-only beverage license to Future Neenah for a wine walk in the 100 and 200 block of West Wisconsin Avenue to be held on May 10th, 2025 from 11 to 3 p.m. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of those 2 items? Seeing no objection, those temporary licenses and permits are approved. Moving on then to item number 9, the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 29th. Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. As you said, I am reporting out from the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 29th, 2025, and the minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, committee recommends council approve the purchase of a Ricoh Theta 360 camera and the Canon EOS R6 mirrorless camera at a cost not to exceed $15,000 with funding coming from the capital equipment budget. And I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item?
I just want to, since I only have 2 items, I just want to talk a little bit about this. Captain Wagner is here tonight, and she did give me permission to read a couple little highlights from her memo on this digital camera replacement project, just because I just thought it was very, very interesting. She says, crime scene documentation is a crucial element in building a solid criminal case. We can take hundreds or even thousands of photographs at a large or serious crime scene to capture every detail of the situation. Our current digital camera and photography equipment requires replacement and upgrading. This equipment is no longer sold or serviced. Our current cameras are Canon DSLR devices, and the technology they use is becoming obsolete in the crime scene photography arena. These cameras are being phased out and replaced with mirrorless cameras, which enhance photographic quality. Our current cameras vary in age from 9 to 18 years old. 2 of those cameras are no longer functioning properly, leaving us with 1 reliable camera for documenting crime scenes. Another little interesting part of this memo, the Ricoh Theta, which is kind of interesting that it's called a Ricoh Theta, actually pronounced Theta probably, 360 camera will add the ability to photograph a room using 360-degree imaging technology. It provides a much clearer global representation of a crime scene. We currently photograph from all 4 corners of a room and piece the photographs together, which is an antiquated way to do this, especially for capturing details. And just one more little item on here. This is on the website, so you can read the whole thing if you're interested in this. She said that the police, she compared prices with several online companies, which the department has used in the past, as well as Camera Corner in Green Bay. The prices were all the same, and purchasing through Camera Corner would allow us the ability to have the camera equipment serviced locally if needed. That's it.
Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And the second item, which is the final item, we received and approved special event permits. And that is informational only, also on the website. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda, the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of April 28th. Chairman Steiner.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting from April 28th. Minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, committee recommends council approve reallocating the $7,000 in CIP funds for the youth furniture to repair the seawall. And I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 2, committee recommends council approve the transfer of $60,000 from Doty Park Play Equipment CIP funding to the Green Bay Park Play Equipment Fund, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Bruno. The Green Park Play Equipment Fund. Any discussion on this item? Alderman Palmo.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I had a question. I think I remember reading in the memo that this money is being reallocated specifically because there was a belief by some of the bidders that the amount allocated wasn't sufficient. So I would ask Director Kading, is that the case? And if so, is the scope of work still intended to be the same for Green Park, or is this a different scope of work for the equipment?
Costs of metal, plastic, and rubber just continues to go up. This isn't a new phenomenon this year. This has been doing this over the last, I'd say, 5 to 6 years. As we just haven't kept up with our budgeting end of the deal. So even for Cook Park, we added some dollars and cents. We had some dollars allocated for Cook. We took it from $50,000, $150 to $175 to get more play equipment and more play value. When we sent out RFPs this spring for the green, what came back was very disappointing. It was play equipment that just wasn't even appropriate. It just wasn't going to provide any play value, and it was going to be very small for a neighborhood park. So in order to produce the type of play equipment that's currently there and moving forward in the future, we feel that we just needed some additional funding to help support what is there, very similar to what's there, with new play equipment and new play value.
How is it determined of what, and I don't know, I don't work in that field, as far as like what is the type of equipment needed for each park? Is it kind of a standard thing, or do you take different approaches per park?
Well, it's unique because like if you look at Rocket Park, it's a very unique structure. It's very themed out. So that was very unique for that community park. For neighborhood parks, we do scale them back. They're not the same size. We try to target about 3,000 square foot for the play areas in the neighborhood parks. We were looking at just getting about 1,500 square feet for the green when we did the RFP and got the 2 proposals back. So we do try to make it somewhat static, try to hit that middle ground, here about 3,000 square foot for these guys and then a little bit bigger for the community parks.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council approve the reclassification of Parks and Recreation Office Manager from grade 7 to grade 8, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 4, committee recommends council approve the capital project carry forwards from 2024 to 2025, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Discussion, Alderman Palmo.
Thank you. Yes, I noticed that the carry forwards this year is kind of exciting for me, kind of budget geek that I am, that went from Last year it was 9 million. Now we're down to 4 million. I think all those accolades to go to Director Rasmussen. I was hoping that she could give kind of a synopsis of her new system that she's utilizing to help lower these unutilized dollars.
Thank you, Alderman Palno. What we've been doing is since last year we changed our method of how we borrow. We used to borrow in the beginning of the year before the projects began. Now we are borrowing in September. So I've actually sat down with every department head this week again to go over their 25 projects. So then I borrow for what's actually happening, what the contracts come in at, and so forth, so that we don't over borrow and pay interest on it. So.
Thank you. That's excellent.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 5, committee recommends council direct staff to prepare the necessary ordinance and to make the necessary arrangements with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, Division of Motor Vehicles to implement a municipal motor vehicle registration fee starting in 2026, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Council President Borchert. Alderman Steiner.
I'd just like to ask, just because understandably there's a fair amount of interest in this topic, if Director of Finance Rasmussen could just give us a little bit of an overview in terms of the different options we carefully considered and discussed during the Finance Committee meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Steiner. Yes, we as a staff looked at the different funding alternatives and then met with Finance Committee and discussed this thoroughly. But there's 3 alternatives that we did come up with. One is going back to special assessments to property owners. That would create quite a burden on the individual property owners that their streets are being reconstructed, and we didn't feel that that was a fair and equitable treatment for those property owners. Another option would be debt levy, where we would borrow the money, pay interest on that to pay for the portion that would have been special assessed. Or thirdly, the wheel tax would cover that portion that we would that was TARF originally. Also, that could be, that was special assessed before the TARF. So that's how we came up with the wheel tax for that.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank
you. And just to piggyback on that a little bit, from our perspective, it's understandable. I appreciate everyone coming out and discussing this. We thought TARF was by far the most equitable and fair way of doing things. That obviously is not an option to us at this time. Right now, it's being looked at the state legislature, which I hope that moves forward and that passes, because I would love to bring that back. So we were faced with the options that the finance director just went through. We felt that we picked the best option of those that were available, and those were the options that were available. I guess actually there was a 4th option, which is that we don't fix our streets. So I understand that there's some frustration, but there's not, unfortunately, kind of a magic fund that's sitting out that we can utilize to pay for it. And so we had to select the option that was best available, that we thought was most equitable as compared to the TARF. From my perspective, I wouldn't want to take out more debt because taxpayers will end up paying for that anyway, and it's actually in a greater amount. And then I didn't want individual homeowner to face the assessment on their own of $3,000, $4,000, whatever it might be, because that can be pretty burdensome. I think we all know or have been subject to those assessments ourselves. So in our viewpoint, TARF was the best option. Unfortunately, it does shift some of the cost from the businesses that were previously contributing to TARF over to residential homeowners. And that's something that we didn't want, but I'm afraid from a legislative standpoint, it was out of our hands. So thank you.
Alderman Palno.
Thank you. For the years I've been on the council, I've always been an advocate for fair governance, including any proposed ordinances, code changes, fees, and taxation. So this proposed wheel tax is very concerning to me. Companies that have semi-truck traffic through our city won't contribute financially for the street construction at all under a wheel tax. My sister is on Social Security and receives $11.26 a month, as well as one of my renters who works at Walmart. In this scenario, would pay more towards Neenah street construction than Galloway Corporation, who runs hundreds of trucks a week through the city. Does that seem right to anyone here? We are here due to TARF being ruled unconstitutional. This was the equitable fee that everyone had on their utility bill. So you're left with those three choices. One, going back to special assessments, resulting in a large one-time bill for residents. I don't believe anyone here would advocate for that, as it is very painful to get a $5,000 to $15,000 bill for a street in front of your house. Two, a wheel tax. This excludes commercial and industrial properties from contributing towards street construction costs, who I believe are much harder on streets than regular vehicles. This does include senior citizens and the working poor who are on very tight budgets. Three, using a debt levy to offset the loss of TARF, which is what we implemented for the year 2024. What does this cost? For a house of $150,000, it's $4,350. For $200,000, it's $858. $250,000, $7,250, and $300,000, $87. So it's not the big boogeyman, I think, that is being portrayed. If you look at the equitable cost and you just look at it through financials. This would be a cost equally spread out among all residential, commercial, and industrial properties equally. I believe this to be the fairest approach to spend money on street work. You have to spend money. It has to come from somewhere. Implementing this long-term will also save us from any future litigation, needed revisions on the wheel tax when the next group, legislature or governor, comes knocking, which they probably will because it's a political environment. So soon, if this wheel tax passes, I personally would receive a property tax cut of $338. I'm advocating that I don't receive that cut for reasons I have stated and hope other council members who will also get a property tax cut with this wheel tax feel the same way as I do. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-1.
Item number 6, committee recommends council approve the updated grant policy, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Alderman Bruno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 7, committee recommends council accept the scheduled finance timelines as presented, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Steiner, seconded by Council President Borchert. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Palmo.
Thank you. As I understand it, this change, the big change on this is we will not have a public meeting in regard to the CIP like we have historically in the spring. Is that correct?
We will still have the workshops, and I believe those are open to the public
Correct.
at the end of August. And one change I wanted to tell you all is it would be 2026 through 2030 because we're already borrowing for 2025. Then it would come before us during budget time for the adoption of the budget with the CIP, focusing on the 2026 borrowing.
As I understand,
That'd be
the,
capital.
the main reasoning for this changing was to more correlate it with our borrowing process now, because we're borrowing later in the year. Was there any thought given, because I always remember what Alderman Stevenson had said, how it was always problematic to have, when the budget process, to have that year of borrowing in the CIP, because then there was what he always say, well, you get two bites at the apple, and it usually was higher when it came back to us. So is there any thought of still having that approval meeting for outer years, like say 27 through 31? Has that ever been discussed?
That would be actually within the budget book. The whole CIP will go within there, and that will have to get adopted. So you're blessing the whole CIP, but then focusing on the capital for 2026 that you have to bless.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have a separate approval process.
Right. I mean,
I just find that, as an alderman, I find this problematic is because we have workshops in August and then we don't approve it, but then we won't have any capital workshop. I mean, will that capital be discussed in the budgeting process? Because it's 3 months in between that, and
Yeah. I mean, if you all wish, we could actually do a vote during the budget workshops, CIP workshops in August. I mean,
I've
that
always
could-
felt that what Alderman Stevens said was good, that we would have, the only capital you would discuss at budget time was 2026.
Sure.
And then you approve the CIP separate as the outline years, but that's,
It would be done already August 18, for that August workshop, so that wouldn't be a problem if you all wanted me to change that part.
I just, that's a personal preference. I just, this process seems harder in Alderman because you have the workshops and then you wait 3 months-ish, then you have another workshops. I don't know, I don't see the, not having an approval process personally, but I'll just throw that out there for discussion.
Alderman Ellis?
Thank you, Mayor. Going back from the historical standpoint, when you're looking at the CIP and you're looking at the years out, we can budget for 1 year out and we can hope for years 2, 3, 4, and 5, but we cannot designate anything. We can't vote for it, we can't approve it. And those outlying years are to be fluid based upon the conditions that we express at that time. So to Alderman Paulna, to your point, there is a different way, as Alderman Stevenson used to say, to look at it. Going from this template, though, I think it's more prudent that we take this initiative this way, because it does become more of a living, breathing document that we can articulate down the road than we can just for a standpoint of convenience. Thank you, Mayor.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 8-1.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the Neenah Menasha Joint Finance and Personnel Committee meeting for Neenah Menasha Fire Rescue. Vice Chair Borchert.
Thank you, Mayor. The committee recommends both the City of Neenah and the City of Menasha authorize the purchase of used light-duty pickup truck for a cost not to exceed $17,000 with funding to be from the FAP money, and I so move.
There's a motion by Council President Borchert, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Bruno.
I just wanted to share two information. First one, last Friday was a graduation ceremony at Station 31. 3 firefighters, Cole, Ben, and Darren, graduated from Spring Recruit School. So I was there. It was a family event. It was a nice event, and congrats again for these 3 young men. And the second information, also this Friday is a retirement celebration for Assistant Chief Jim Puglow, if I pronounce well.
Yes, you
So I
did.
just wanted to share these 2 information with you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0. The next item on the agenda is the regular Plan Commission meeting. Is there anything that you would like to report, Council Representative Steiner?
Thank you, Mayor. Just really quick, we're continuing our discussions in relation to the housing study of finding opportunities to make building within Neenah more affordable, easier. I think universally everyone's impacted by higher housing costs. There's certainly a need across not only Neenah, but also the state of Wisconsin and also the United States. And so we're looking at what we can do. I would say in the next 2 Planning Commission meetings, Deputy Director Schmidt is going to be bringing some very specific recommendations and ideas in terms of updating some of our zoning code. And so these meetings are at 4 o'clock the Tuesday before the council meeting. So if you ever want to stop by and learn more about that, feel free. But we're really excited about it. We think that there's a lot of opportunities ahead, and we're going to continue pushing forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Board of Public Works meeting, Vice Chair Lindrum.
No report. It was just informational only.
Thank Thank you. Library Board, Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the Library Board of Trustees. The Library Board met on April 16th, 2025. One item that I'd like to highlight is the Neenah Joint School District Art Show, which is currently on display through May 11th. Please stop in and check out the beautiful artwork created by students from the Neenah Joint School District, kindergarten through 12th grade. Also, I'd like to highlight some items in the newsletter. The Sunday concert series will feature the Driftless Plowboys, Sunday, May 18th. Another popular program that the library has is the Cookbook Club. And this month's theme is the Mexican Fiesta. And so on Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30, they will be sharing Mexican recipes and sampling Mexican treats. So that will be great. Also, there is a variety of other items that are available: movies, yoga, fitness, chess, mahjong. So please check out the Neenah Public Library website, and always remember to check out some books. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. Bergstrom-Mahler Museum, Alderman Bruno.
Thanks, Mayor. So the Bergstrom-Mahler Museum of Glass had a member opening on April 25 for a new exhibit with an interesting artist talk. The exhibit, Through a Window Darkly, the artwork of Jen Blazina, is running through October 5. So I encourage all of you to go to see this exhibit, an interesting one. And the second thing, the next board meeting is scheduled on Wednesday, May 28th. So that will be my first meeting at the board.
Thank you for your report.
In my report.
Thank you for your report. Parks and Rec Commission, Alderman Weber.
Thank you, Mayor. The Park and Rec Commission met on April 17th. The minutes can be found on the city website. A few items of note: there were new commission officers nominated and confirmed. Ashley Andreski will be the new commission president, and Eric Maggio as the commission vice president going forward. Office Manager Rasmussen distributed the annual report for 2024, and you should have a copy of that on your desk. So if there's any questions, please let us know. Last item of note, there was a business item brought forth and was voted, passed by 8-0 to rename the Great Lawn at Memorial Park after Tom Jensen. For folks that had been in Neenah in a long time, Mr. Jensen was a teacher and a coach, and very instrumental both in the school system and as well as the within the city, doing fun runs, different things like that. So very deserving to have this the Great Lawn named in his honor. So wanted to mention that. And lastly, it's not in the minutes, however, at Carpenter Preserve this past Saturday, there was a volunteer tree planting event, and it was a good success. I believe we had, I don't know the final count, but over 50, was it 40? 40, thanks, Michael. So 40 volunteers, people walking around planting trees, nice day, so appreciate everybody's effort there. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Sustainable Neenah Committee, is there a report from that group, Alderman Linsky?
Thank you, Mayor. No report tonight.
Thank you. Are there any petitions?
No petitions.
Are there any council directives? Is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business?
Mayor, I have something.
Alderman Lundrum?
Thank you, Mayor. This Saturday, if you noticed on Doty Island, you probably saw many people holding trash bags and picking up trash. And that was because Alderman Flo Bruno is now president of what we used to call Doty Island Development Council, DIDC. Now it's called DICP for Doty Island Community Partners. And so she worked with the Fox Watershed Alliance and provided everything anyone could ever need, including donuts and coffee. And we had many, many volunteers, and they had a blast. And some of them, a lot of them actually came back, asked for more bags to go back out again. So they were clearly having a really wonderful time. Families, single people, it didn't matter. They were having a great time. So I don't know how much.
Thanks, Gary. Yes, we have some numbers. So we had 95 volunteers that day, and we collected around 900 pounds of waste.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you. She put me in charge of picking up the heavy metal items and some of the syringes. We only had one syringe, but next year I want to be in charge of the donuts.
Of course.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that. Is there any additional new business to come before council? Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to encourage everybody to visit downtown Neenah. Future Neenah and Alliance Charter Elementary School have the Tiny Door exhibit throughout the city. There are 55 doors located throughout the city that were created by 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students at Alliance Charter Elementary, and they are spread throughout the city. So there's a QR code that you can access by your phone and find out where the doors are located. And I'm very, very proud of the students, and they did great work on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that was under your leadership. So I applaud you for taking the leadership on that project. It's amazing. Thank you. Any other new business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second? Second. There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.